I think the issue with the X-Men in particular, right? The
Mm-hmm.
the the main issue that I've been having as a fan of the X-Men, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that the reasons why the masses have kind of soured on everything that way is when you think of the X-Men in terms of what they represent and the stories that get told, X-Men should never be forced into trying to be the Avenger. And I think the issue is that a lot of people were trying to find the identity or the way that they should view those characters and what they're actually capable of. I love the X-Men, but knowing what I know now and my level of awareness being a little bit higher and being the type of person that reads between the lines and looks for more hidden context, they're not the team that should be saving the world. On screen, on print, whatever. They're not that team that should be forming together to try to stop that galactic level threat because it doesn't really make sense. It's almost like trying to put shoes on them that don't fit. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Especially when you consider how successful we've seen on screen the Avengers being and taking down those same kind of threats. Like, let's not get it twisted. X-Men Apocalypse was them trying to do their version of the Avengers. It just didn't work.
Yeah, we'll just say that.
Right, and we'll leave it at that. It didn't work. It didn't work because again, it looked like shoes that didn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
This new direction that they're taking, I think that it's perfect for what it is that they're trying to do because it does affect the world that they live in, but it doesn't put the kind of pressure on those characters to be more than what it is you expect them to be. You know, the best X-Men stories are the ones that are contained to what those characters are dealing with, is what I think. So, not to get off on a tangent or nothing like that. I didn't think this would be the X-Men episode, but you
We
know,
making
it
it, it is what it is.
yeah, it is what it is, man. I mean, there's never a bad time to talk about X-Men.
Definitely not. And to segue into what you're talking about, the best storylines I do believe are basically X-Men dealing with mutant issues and not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily world crisis issues. Now I know everyone's gonna say Dark Phoenix. That's one of the few you can say where that was kind of character driven.
Yep.
Even though there was worlds at stake and many lives were lost by the Phoenix, that was a character study almost of Jean Grey,
Mm-hmm.
and that honestly, that's a feminist storyline. That's female empowerment of Jean Grey, basically having control over herself. That's a whole multi-layered thing right there with Jean Grey and the Phoenix Force, and having her abilities kind of locked in for a while, and then being unleashed. And who wants to control her? The Hellfire Club wants to control her. But I do believe the X-Men are best when they have mutant issues set on Earth. I'm sorry, I'm not too big into the space, the Shi'ar Empire. I'm just like,
Yeah,
it's cool.
that gets a little
It's
boring.
To me, that's kind of like filler. Savage Lands, okay, that's an episode or two. That's an issue or two. If you were to say the X-Men were based in the Savage Lands and only dealt with the Savage Lands for like 20 plus issues, we're gonna have some problems. Um,
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
those are nice little excursions to the main. Those are nice little, appetizer meal or desserts or whatever. But the main dish is them dealing with mutant problems on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not this big end of the world cataclysmic event unless it
Right.
deals with a mutant of that kind of power, and they're the only ones privy to that mutant.
I agree with that 100%, man. Like, I mean, if you even look at, oh man,
Go ahead.
yeah, I did not want to get into this rabbit hole today, but like,
Uh,
if you even look at the movies based in X-Men, right?
right.
And I'm talking about the movies that actually have that title and are associated with the actual group of the X-Men, right? With Charles sitting at the head of the table. The
Gotcha.
more that those movies began to branch out of what it was that fit into that normal box of social, racial injustice, or anything like that, the more that it branched out of that, the quality and what it was they were trying to do went down. I mean, we done had this conversation off air, but I mean, there have been more movies, and I'm saying this as a diehard X-Men fan, but I gotta be objective. Like I'm too old to be biased in terms of some of these things. But like there have been more movies that fall into the middle of the road or considered bad movies under that X-Men brand than there have been good movies. You know what I mean?
I can agree
And
with
I
that.
and I think that's in part because of maybe what the trends were, trying to keep up with the Joneses, whatnot. But those stories, the more they branched out, the more quality I think went down. X-Men First Class, I could still go back and watch that movie and not feel any differently about it because it's actually telling an X-Men story. Even the original X-Men that came out in 2000. Now,
Hmm.
I mean, people will make jokes about the costumes and maybe some of the visual effects, but the story that was being told still fits within what it is you expect from the X-Men. When we start getting into stuff like Dark Phoenix and Apocalypse and even X3, where it
Hmm.
starts to branch out a little bit more and maybe not look like what you expect it to look like or feel like what you expect it to feel like, that's where some of the issues I think pop up. Personally, for me, I cannot go back. I'm not watching X3. I'm not doing it, bro. I'm not doing it. Like unless it's a situation where it's no, like I really couldn't even think of a plausible reason to go back and watch X3. Right now in good conscience, I can't think of a reason to go back and watch X-Men Apocalypse or X-Men Dark Phoenix. There's no reason for me to do that because it's not really X-Men. It's
Mm.
more of a hodgepodge of ideas to try to appeal to a certain trend or make it look like something else, but brand it as X-Men. And I get it. It's based on source material, right?
Right.
Or more or less, I'm going to say inspired by source material.
Mm.
But not everything is meant to be translated on screen. Not every idea is something that should be implemented into live action. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, man. I mean, you saw it with Dark Phoenix, them going to space,
Oh man.
Apocalypse, them just trying to eat off their whole Avengers branding, the Avengers popularity. Even the X-Men comics themselves, they don't really when they only deal with their own events and their own issues, it's top notch. When you start to merge them when these big multi level events, it just doesn't really they're not really needed. You can look at the last couple events from Marvel series. I mean, I think I can name a few of them from the past 2 3 years. You had Venomverse, Alien Symbiote Invasion of the World, whatever. Not needed. I think Thor had a multi-event storyline with Asgard, and X-Men are not needed. Even if you go to Jonathan Hickman's own Secret Wars, that's a Fantastic Four storyline. The only X-Men presence in in that whole series was Mister Sinister and Cyclops. Cyclops got cucked, got the Phoenix Egg, got some of the Phoenix Force, and freaking Doom had to show him what a real god is like, what real power is like. So I was mad.
That's all.
I was,
That's all you got to say about that, huh?
I was pissed as a Cyclops stan. I was like, wow, you're gonna give Cyclops the Phoenix Force power and have him killed by Doom. You're gonna have the X-Men job. Okay, cool. Have the
Right,
X-Men job in the event.
and that's the thing. I mean, at this point in time, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say to anybody who is in tune with what you would like to call, this culture, quote unquote, right?
Right.
Between movies, TV, comic books. what have you. Even YouTube can be included in this now, right? I don't think that there's an immediate appeal for the X-Men to anyone that fits into that under 25 demographic. Look at it this way. For us, over 25, the X-Men for us is almost like what the Avengers is for people who are coming up behind us now.
Okay, okay. Go ahead, man. You on something here?
I really do believe that. So the way people who fit into that demographic now probably view the X-Men is the same way that we used to view the Fantastic Four.
Oh shit. Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can totally
Like,
dig what you're saying. I mean, at the very least, they know Wolverine. They know him
right.
as, the cool ass X-Men character with the claws who don't take shit.
But they got more love for Deadpool than they do
Hmm.
the actual squad.